to Pick Central. Today we are presented by DraftKings. Get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers who deposit $5 or more can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 back in bonus bet. What's a no-sweat bet? It's just like getting an offensive board. Miss your first shot, you get another opportunity to score with a bonus bet back. I appreciate DraftKings explaining that like in sports terms, because sometimes when you explain it to someone that doesn't know much about gambling, it's tough to explain a no-sweat bet, you know? And that just, they did it easily for us. You can also follow what all your favorite Barstool personalities are betting on by joining the Barstool betting group in the social section of the DraftKings Sportsbook app. It's actually great. Like Rico said yesterday, he explains a bunch of why he wants to take these bets. There's so many people betting in it. You can put clown emojis on bets you don't like. You can comment back to us saying this bet you don't like it or whatever. Go follow the Barstool Sportsbook, the Barstool bets on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code PICKCENTRAL. New customers can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 if your first bet loses. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code PICKCENTRAL. The crown is yours. DraftKings really is so clean and so quick every time I use it. I'm so used to it now. I fucking love it.
Like the black and green, too.
The black and green is nice.
At Rap Sheet is a legitimate account, correct? It's Ian Rappaport, 4.3 million followers.
Yeah.
The Giants are not franchise tagging running back Saquon Barkley again. Source said he'll be one of the top free agents in a very good running back class.
Me and Smitty talked about it last week. I mean, this is like an all-time running back class. It feels like literally out of the top 10 running backs in the league, it's like more than half of them are just on the free agent.
It is, and it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I just don't think it matters that much anymore.
I think I think there's I was telling Smitty before, I was watching an interview with Jordan Renan, who's like good. He's like in touch with the Giants. He's like the ESPN guy for the Giants. He was just in Indy, and he was saying that a lot of the talk is that Houston's going to make like a big play for him.
Yeah.
And might overpay to a point where almost Joe Shane almost might be like happy about it in the sense that it could give him an excuse. Like if the Houston just goes off from like $14 million a year.
But for a team like that, it kind of makes sense.
I agree.
A splash play or a veteran.
He would help Stroud. Saquon's a legit game changer running back. There's only, I think, a handful of those guys in the league. He's one of them. And he would help out Stroud immensely. He's, right now in DraftKings, he's the betting favorite. The Texans are the betting favorite.
Stroud supposedly
to
been
sign
recruiting
him.
Now, there's no chance the Giants pony up, correct?
I think not for like $14 million a year. I think they would like 8 to 10 range.
It's also he's made it very clear that he wants to be on the Giants. He's made that clear, but he's not going to take.
No,
if there's a way better fucking option, he's going to do that.
Saquon and the Texans, that makes sense. Derrick Henry and the Ravens, that makes perfect sense.
Now, who do you think ponies up for? Josh Jacobs is so young, and has been so good the last few years. I think somebody. When I say pony up, I mean like somebody's going to give him some money. You know what I mean? Like something somewhat significant.
But you can see him not getting paid though.
I think he gets at least like $8-10 million a year. Like someone's going to pay Josh Jacobs that kind of money. I think
$8 million for sure.
He's young. He's had two good. Last year the offense was bad. He still had a solid year. The year before, he literally was the rushing leader in the NFL.
The Chiefs.
I think he's only like 27. Like he's pretty young.
The Chiefs are also showing like they got Pacheco in the 7th round. Like you can.
That's not just the Chiefs. That's a little
different. No, I know, but I'm saying the Chiefs are winning.
With Mahomes, though.
But it's like I'm just saying though, like Pacheco is a huge part of that offense still with Mahomes, and they got him in the 7th round. They're paying him dog shit, and they've won 2 Super Bowls with him now.
I hate to use the Eagles as the example. It's the only one that I'm like familiar with the top of my head. They won their Super Bowl with LeGarrette Blount trading for Jay Ajayi and Corey Clement, who was an undrafted free agent, scoring touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Like you can pick and choose and get guys out of nowhere if you do it the right way, instead of paying running backs freaking like they're Larry Johnson or Sean Alexander or LaDainian Tomlinson.
In a league when they used to run the ball,
yeah,
and pound, like it has changed.
I truly think
throwing the ball now.
I think Saquon is up there, but I think it's like McCaffrey and Saquon. I don't know who else is like definite game changer, right? Like running back.
not that's like I mean, I would like Chubb. I mean,
Yeah, like that's what.
Chubb, if he
but
comes back
even they showed they won without him.
But
Yeah,
who's the cat from Miami? Devin.
Chain.
Yeah, he's a game changer.
But he's a
They
he's
have-
a third round rookie.
But
Yeah.
Mostert had the most touchdowns in the NFL.
Also true.
Like,
He's a late
also
round
true.
guy.
That was another guy where it's like, I don't know. I just think that
I think we looked at something. The only team in the last like 15 years that had even a remotely high paid running back that won the Super Bowl was Marshawn Lynch on the Seahawks the one year. He was making like $7-8 million.
It also seems like it gets late quick with these guys. Like all of a sudden, like
Oh, yeah.
Zeke was contributing. Zeke was like legit, and then it's like 2 years later, 3 years later, it's like gone.
Dude,
This
Le'Veon
guy, like
Bell,
he
like-
can't even
Le'Veon
like.
Bell, it just fell off the map. It's a salary
yeah.
cap league. There's only so much money you can spread
No,
across.
but just even the sense of like they're just not that good anymore either. You know what I mean? I think it gets you watch that it's quick. It seems like it's real quick at running back.
I mean,
Like wide receivers lose a step, but they're still okay.
unless you're Adrian Peterson or Frank Gore, that's the case.
Yeah.
This narrative also entirely changes if Kyle Shanahan coached better in the fourth quarter this past month. Well, yeah.
I
no, I don't think
disagree
it
with
does.
that.
I think McCaffrey's just such.
McCaffrey's
a
like
different breed.
he's a unicorn.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
dude, I don't even know if did their backup get like more than 3 rushes in the
No.
Super Bowl. Like, he plays every.
He might have had
down.
like 2 or 3 maybe.
Like,
tops.
you don't even know. He's just a different breed. No one's like McCaffrey. Like, it's 1A McCaffrey, then like a Saquon that can game change. It just you don't need it. You don't fucking need it whatsoever.
Yeah, Miles Sanders signs a big contract for the Panthers.
nonsense.
Chubb Hubbard is starting by week 8.
There's another guy in
Yeah.
free agent, by the way, Swift.
Yeah,
It's
DeAndre Swift is out there.
Saquon, Jacobs,
J.K.
Henry,
Dobbins.
Dobbins, Eckler,
Eckler is
Swift.
awful.
Gus Edwards.
Edwards out there?
Zach Moss
Zach
is a
Moss.
good back.
So the Ravens just have no running backs at the moment, right?
J.K. Dobbins probably.
No, he's
He's a
free
free
agent.
He's a free agent. He wasn't even on that.
They-
Like,
they have-
big
Still have
list.
like Melvin Gordon.
They have the Mitchell
Yeah.
kid he was good, got
Oh,
hurt.
he is good. So I think J.K.
They're
Dobbins
definitely going to be in the mix for a running
is
back.
going to
for
get
sure.
signed for like $1 million because he's been hurt twice now. But if he is ever healthy, which is a huge what if, I think he's so fucking good.
He's really good. It's been obviously an Ohio State guy. I liked him. It's been tough to watch the talent, and because I don't think it's like his fault, just the injuries. He's so physically talented.
I think he's going to go to a very good team for a low amount, and then we're going to be like, how'd they get this guy?
if he could just have like one healthy season, he'd get paid.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think he's so good. Yeah, the Saquon going back to the Giants, like, I've kind of given up on it.
I just still think as long as Houston doesn't just like throw the absolute.
I
bag
think
at
they
him,
are. I think
he comes back.
Houston's on like this fucking high right now of like they got their quarterback. Let's get them some help. Let's show them that
This is
we
the
wanna
time they
give
can
'em some
spend
help.
because in 4 years or 3 years they're gonna have to give Stroud $1
Yeah,
billion.
and Tank Dell is going to be healthy. Like they're all going to be fucking going. I think this is where like, look, we're going to help you right now. Here's Saquon, and the Giants just won't do it. And also the Giants with like Daniel Jones, they're like it's like the Giants seem like a mess right now. To be completely honest.
I mean, we just have a lot of holes.
No,
I mean-
not even like the team. I'm saying like the organization of like talking. Even like I don't care if we're done with Daniel Jones. It's like just the way we're the worst kept secret. People keep saying of like that we're trading up for it or whatever. Like I just feel like we don't have our ducks in a row whatsoever.
They're saying Daniel Jones is still going to start next year.
They don't fucking know.
I mean,
I've
they
heard
need to
everything.
just see what's going to play out if they draft a quarterback. If they like what they.
I think you got to start him. If you start him and he plays well, because I feel like it's just, it's a
Just seeing Phil in the back.
no. Because if you start him and he plays well, you trade him mid-season.
If you
get
start
him
him and he
back.
plays
Yeah, but
well,
it's
he
not
has
like the
another 2
NBA,
years.
man.
Nah.
That's what's weird.
I
I agree with you.
Now
That was literally the case.
I actually
Yeah,
agree.
you can't-
I actually
you
agree
can't
with that mindset in the NFL. If a guy plays good for like 6 weeks, trade him to a team. But the problem that doesn't happen in season. Nobody takes a quarterback.
Not
mid-season.
quarterbacks
Nah,
mid-season.
that would-
It's just not how it goes, and it makes you one. I guess it's kind of hard because anyone who's doing well and would need him
But
obviously has their quarterback, so they can't
no,
take
but
that
this
guy.
year would have happened. Like I feel
The only
like
other way would be like
the
again,
Browns
like
would have
not
taken him this year.
No, I'm
like
dead
if somebody has like a franchise quarterback and he goes down, and they're like 9-0, and then you're using a guy to like maybe you're loaded everywhere else and use him as like a stopgap.
Maybe a rental.
Like maybe
anyway.
take a chance.
If in this hypothetical situation too, the Giants trade up in the top 5 for a quarterback, so you're using Daniel Jones as a buffer. You don't throw the quarterback right into it right away. You trade Daniel Jones if he's playing well. If he stinks, it's already a waste of a contract anyways. It's like I think it's a no-brainer.
And if we drafted a quarterback, you give him some time.
Yes.
Behind.
And
him.
if he plays
better be
well,
the right guy, though.
you don't throw him into the fire. Like if he sucks, he'll still probably go in mid-season because Daniel Jones sucks. If Daniel Jones plays well, you at least get like a 5th round or 6th round or compensatory
That's
pick
too
back.
high.
I mean, if he played well, you'd get higher than that. But
If he played well,
He
you'd
has
be in
1
the
year left in the
playoffs.
contract.
You guys were in the playoffs 2 years ago when he played well. Why would you trade him if he's playing well?
Because if
Because he's not
Saquon
the-
walks,
I know that, but if you're in a playoff race, and
Ryan Fitzpatrick, it happened with the Dolphins.
we
2
literally
years ago you guys were in the playoffs with him playing well.
we did it with Eli Smitty.
You went all the way with Eli.
But I'm saying his rookie year, you draft the guy in obviously he was 1, but I'm saying this scenario, we're talking about like this hypothetical. Say we draft Drake, say we move up to 3, we draft Drake May. Say that's what happens. I think even if Daniel Jones is playing like decent ball, like I mean the year with Eli was Kurt Warner was playing good ball. They were 5-4, and they said fuck it, 5-4, maybe playoff team. This ain't a Super Bowl team. Axed them, put in Eli. They go 1-6 down the stretch, but the rest is history. I could see them I could see if it plays out that way, I could see that like something like that happening.
So what if they start 7-2 and not 5-4?
Well, 7-2 is a different animal, but still, I just don't see that happening. But I mean,
he has a good point too.
He played well 2 years ago.
I mean, shit. If they're 7-2 and he's lighting the world on fire, that'd be incredible.
Like we're
That-
talking
if that's
about like
how it
last
happened.
year, he did suck, but he also he got hurt for like most of the season. If he plays good, Phil, think about it in a rational to get you out of your Frank
am
mind
thinking
for a
about it in a
second. No,
rational
think about your
standpoint.
Frank mind for a second because he did. Smitty's right as well. He played well.
He played
2 years ago.
fine.
He played very well. He played above average. He didn't turn the ball over. He rushed his
Yeah, he
dick dry,
played
He
well.
was-
and he won a
Played very
playoff
well.
game.
He was
Played very well.
average.
He was
It was
He
above.
was
average.
above average.
This is where I feel like
Just so you
loses
guys
it.
know, I trust Phil's football mind more than any of you.
Yeah.
I don't, because Phil gets blind. He goes Frank mode, and he gets blind.
Yeah, it's just when you hate a
It's
guy,
the
you
same, we're having the same
can't.
conversation for 5 years.
We're on the same page. Like
Yeah,
we
like
have to
we-
move on from it. So clearly, like
We're not
move on,
saying
but-
he's our guy forever, but if he
But
plays
he's
well,
also he's not as bad as you like say
capable
he
of
is.
playing
he's
well.
bad.
he's capable of playing well 1,000%.
Can I tell you guys a dream that I had really quick, just so we don't go down this like huge rabbit hole?
Oh my God.
Saquon. Last night I had a dream about Saquon going to the Dolphins. Is there is that even a possibility
No.
that it ever happens,
0%
or is that just a
chance.
random thing that popped?
random-
They have two running backs who are good and make no money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had
get it.
I had
get
it.
it.
I had a dream, and it was just like, and I woke up and I was like, that would be a scary situation. I don't know if it was like a 49ers Shanahan with like CMC, and then I was like, oh, McDaniels, he's with the 49ers. I don't know. It was bizarre. How to get that off my chest?
You brought up Drake May. The draft, I've been trying to get a little read on the draft of what quarterbacks. Caleb Williams is obviously just going 1 to the Bears. That's just done.
Yeah.
Didn't he opt out with some medical shit too? There just seems like
No,
every
he
day
Didn't opt
there's-
out with
He
medical.
didn't opt
No,
out.
hold on. No, I'm glad.
didn't.
He said
People are-
he's just providing it to teams that like have a chance.
All right.
I mean, he's not putting it out there. And he also
So I
said,
got half a headline there.
yeah, and I
it's
actually
not even
appreciate
you.
Caleb Williams saying this. He's obviously the number 1 overall pick. He knows it.
Right.
And they asked, why aren't you throwing at the prom combine? Why aren't you proving it? He's like, I played 30 games. The film's out there. And he's right.
Yeah.
He's absolutely right.
Why
Do you see
throw
the
again?
fucking?
Yeah.
Do you see the first question he got asked at his like combine press conference?
What?
He didn't. He just says hello everyone. Literally immediately goes, Caleb, is it true you don't like that? You're afraid to compete because you're not throwing guy. He's the open number. Like he's like. I'm like, who the fuck lets these people in these press conferences? I'm like,
I don't know.
the
That
guy's
sounds
been-
like fun.
The guy's been
being
the
a troll at media day.
No, but he
Oh, they're
was
not
being
trolls.
serious.
Yeah, I know.
But that's
like
It's like Stuttering John on Howard
I'm
Stern.
like
when they used
I'm
to
like
send
the
them all
guy
the
has
time.
been the lock number 1
Wait,
pick
is-
for 24 months now. Why the fuck would he throw?
Yeah, but Ev-
no first pick is ever fucking thrown.
Rico, up until
Like
up
I'm
until
saying
like
lock
10,
like him.
Yeah, but up
no
until
lock like him is thrown. Last year, you know what I mean.
up until 10, 15 years ago, that's a legitimate question.
For the like
I think
for like the generate. I'm saying like not like last year, even where like Young and Stroud was to sort of compete. I'm saying legitimately like it has been known for 2 years. Like, you're going to be the first pick.
I agree with you, but up until I'd even say like 7 years ago, that's a legitimate question. It's like, oh, well, you're a competitor. Why don't you fucking go out there and compete? Now it's so much a business and so much what it is that it's such an absurd question.
Because imagine if someone went to, like, I'm just like, Penix, McCarthy was like, oh, you guys didn't run the 40. Are you afraid to compete? You didn't run you threw, but you didn't run the 40.
Sam Hartman.
Afraid to run 40s? Sam Hartman. Oh, it's so much
Sam Hartman
of
looked
nonsense.
beautiful running.
If you're like a top few pick, like choosing to not do things is like just what everyone
I
does.
get it. I get that. It's just that Caleb Williams hasn't helped himself, and his dad hasn't helped him with the ownership of the team.
But I don't think he ever said that. This is like
his dad though. I don't
even think
comes with it.
But these are like things that I think people are just like throwing, and I'm not saying you, just like
No, I know.
media has like grabbed like a little, like someone said a little thing, and people grab it and run with it, and then the entire world just takes it as like law. Like it just really happened.
If he doesn't cry, well, a lot of this stops. I'm serious.
Now I'm trying to like this guy was such a generational talent, and now like he loses a few games where his defense gives up like 50 points, and I was one of the people criticizing him when they cried after they lost. Whatever was the third or fourth game, and the season was basically over. It's just gotten to a point now where we just like it's that point of like the media circle of like the draft where there's nothing to say bad about him, so we're like reaching for things to say bad about all these guys.
Yeah.
Because he's just been like this perfect prospect, this number one, like easy number one pick. We're seeing all these guys like Drake May's getting bashed now. I get like Daniels is like the riser because he kind of came out of nowhere.
Jaden Daniels is going down now too.
But that's what I'm saying. Like he's kind of like the riser because he was the guy who kind of came out of nowhere this year, and then now he's gonna get to a point which is like basically starting to happen a little bit where they'll start being like, oh, I don't know about him.
You know who's flying up?
Dude, I don't
McCarthy,
think.
of course.
I don't think. I don't think.
Flying up.
And you know what? A lot of
he's going to be the Giants quarterback. He's going to be I've already like accepted it mentally.
Nah.
What are we going to take him at? What do we have?
They might 6. I could see it. I
can't.
I could totally see
If
it.
Jaden Daniels there and he's there, I don't care. I don't care if Jaden McCarthy becomes the best quarterback. I don't want him.
I could see them trading up. Listen, we know the Giants. It's going to be Drake May or McCarthy. I don't need to say
What was Daniel Jones? Was Daniel Jones
the fucking truth?
Was Daniel Jones taking 6 or 8?
Yeah, 6.
I'm not knocking McCarthy.
wasn't 8?
I don't want McCarthy either. But doesn't it feel like McCarthy has to have like an established team around him? And we got nothing. Especially if Saquon
that
walks.
is the craziest fucking thing. That people,
You had Richie James.
and he also, I want to say one thing about JJ that he brings to the table that no other
I love how
quarterback
he says
prospect does.
JJ like he's a fucking kid on his block from Long Island. That he went to fucking Heat.
He basically did. He basically did. He
Rico,
basically did.
you're the king of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you literally are the king of that.
The only reason that
You met Danny Sprinkle once.
Don't throw stones, Rico.
the only
He
reason
never
you,
met JJ.
The only-
JJ, you're proving my point. I met these guys.
the only reason you don't like JJ is because he doesn't have some fake Italian nickname from like Staten Island. But like seriously, the one thing that he brings to the table, like yes, people like want to compare him to like Daniel Jones because he's tall, white, can run, and he's like an accurate thrower. But I seriously think that one thing you can't measure that he brings, one is coming from a winning tradition. 2, just knows how to like get like a locker room to rally around him. Like I don't know if Caleb Williams like necessarily has that ability to have people want to play for him.
I just don't think we know that. Like, just because Michigan was a way better team than USC, you know, like Michigan had the best defense of like of all time. And also, they've also won a game without JJ McCarthy throwing the ball.
If you also put JJ McCarthy though on LSU, I don't think that the stats are that different.
I mean, but you have to acknowledge they did win a game without throwing the ball.
Yeah, but he also didn't bitch about it.
But that is a point where I think
I don't think that had anything to do with him.
I don't think he's bad either. No,
Yeah.
I think that
Dukes does bring up a good point. How many quarterbacks would accept not being able to throw a ball for a half?
No, he's dead serious.
Yeah.
no.
Like, and he just didn't go to the media like I want that quarterback.
All right, so then by that rationale, Army, Air Force, and Navy's quarterback should be like given world medals.
Well, they're not good.
You're
so-
talking about him like he's fucking Trent Dilfer with like the 2000 Ravens.
I've actually been kind of like
Trent Dilfer was the number 1 overall pick.
Nobody had a better combine than JJ.
Joe Milton.
He threw really well. Nah, he's
Joe
right.
Milton.
He's right in the sense he threw.
You
great.
want a guy with a good arm.
He had the
listen, I've
third
been-
three-cone drill. He came third in the three-cone drill. out of every
No
athlete.
one's been more like anti JJ than me. I've been starting to buy in on more. I've let
you
my
can move on now.
You
Because
would be in a fucking
I've-
mental warfare if JJ was the Giants.
nah. I've already.
Hey, move on,
I could heel turn so quick.
Yeah, I actually say I don't think you should
Yeah.
hate guys when they come out of college. and
If
they
we
go to your team.
if we
If
draft
they
them,
suck, it's very easy that you could flip on them.
Yeah.
But
If they don't go to your team, you could still hate them.
oh no, this is I'll give everyone the playbook. I mean, if we draft them,
yeah.
I'm gonna
or
be
even
like,
pro team rivals, it's the same thing. Like, who did the Mets just get from you guys? From the Yankees? Bader?
Severino. and
Bader
yeah.
too.
Yeah, they're both. If they both suck, like they have the quickest leash
Yeah, the baseball.
coming because it's like, oh, he's a fucking Yankee. Like, you know what I mean? So
That's different than just the unique thing of they going to my anti-college team like to my pro team. But
yeah.
I'll be the second we draft him, I'll be the biggest JJ guy in the world. And if he sucks, I'll be the quickest to say I told you so.
Yeah.
So, who if you had to do top quarterbacks right now in a row, Williams, then who's it go?
I don't really know. I think it's I get to talk
I
myself
think
into
it's
Daniels.
I think it's gonna go Williams.
I mean, Daniels put up some really good stats at Arizona State as well. Like, we have a body of work with a guy like that. I still also like Bo Nix. I know fucking Ev hates Bo
I hate
Nix.
him.
Oh, Nix.
I want nothing to do with him.
I look at a guy like Bo Nix was not great on the road with Auburn, and then turned himself into like legit at Auburn, legit at Oregon. Like, I think Bo Nix is pretty solid for a team. I could see him being good.
I just don't see a world where he's like a legit like starter. The one guy I'm starting to buy back in on more is Drake May, because I think he's been a product of if he came out last year, he would have been the first pick.
Yeah.
Like I think he's super talented. He's big, athletic, strong arm. Like, he fits everything that the league does right now. And I think he's better at like reading defenses and things like that than like even like a Daniels is maybe. Like, the one thing I was listening to a guy talk about quarterback play that gave me some concern, and was him talking about Daniels, that the big thing that he's like not good at is kind of like over the middle. And that's the one thing where Fields has really struggled with. That's like really hindered him in like his passing development. And I could just see that being a problem where there were so many times where like you don't realize it because there'd be like guys over the middle wide open, but he breaks like a 20-yard run, so no one like says anything about it.
Yeah.
So I think Drake May's a guy that I'm starting to like really, really like. Him, I'm being totally honest, like JJ, I've started to like a lot more. Maybe I've let some of my bias leave and looked at him more like honestly, and I think he is pretty good. I'm at a point I think I might even take May over Daniels. I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know.
If the Giants got May, I'd be ecstatic. If
I
they
like
somehow pulled that off, I'd be very happy.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. Just I don't know. We got to get a quarterback though.
But it's weird at 6 because you're getting the third best option. So it's one of those. I almost feel like.
I mean, if JJ could be the fourth.
That's also not true
yeah.
though. That's not
but
true.
you don't know that.
Well, yeah, everybody's teams.
No, I'm saying
Everybody comes out and says they have. Oh, that guy was our number one. It's
I like the Texans got the second best option last year. You know, like that's
Yeah, for sure.
Like you don't know who the best option is
Where would
until
Bryce Young go in a redraft this year?
I don't know.
probably
I mean,
probably two.
He tested so well last year too. Like,
Bryce
he
Young went
was-
to an awful team. We
Yeah.
have to give him a second.
Okay.
He was
But
probably the
I
best prospect
I
last year
think
too.
he'd go. Yeah, I think he was a better prospect than Stroud.
So
but
easy to
Stroud
say
just
in hindsight.
Was better. He turned
Like
out better.
after the combine, the film, like it was there. Like now
Yeah.
it's easy to be like, oh, Stroud has it.
Um,
I think. Can I say one thing about the draft really quick? I actually think, and I was like big on Jaden Daniels to the Pats at 3. I do think that there's now a possibility that somebody will like JJ so much, well, they'll try to jump up and grab him top 5, and he'll be the third QB taken off the board.
I can see that.
I think teams are going to fall in love with him and be like, they don't want to miss out on like the Giants seeing him at 6, so let's try to trade there, like maybe even like overpay to get a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
I'm starting to really think if Daniels does go 2, and the Pats don't love May, then I really think the Giants and Pats could be a thing.
I agree, and I think the Pats like Joe Alt a lot because I think Joe Alt's like I don't.
He's the number 1 tackle. I really like the Oregon State guy. That dude's Fuanga is a monster.
Yeah, I have a thing for offensive tackles. That just,
It means a huge receiver offensive tackle class.
yeah. Like just like in a quarterback like stat class like Marvin Harrison just to go out and get like the best O tackle prospect. It's like hilarious.
As a fan, for draft days, like when you're like obviously offensive lineman is like who you really should be
Yeah.
taking.
Yeah.
But like when you're as a fan, when you don't take a skill player,
that's all I
you're
care
like, this
about.
sucks.
That's all I
like,
care
when we took Saquon, I was like, that might have been stupid, but I fucking love it.
It's all you care
Like, when you
about.
take O-line, you're like, we could have taken Todd Gurley there. So I remember we didn't take Todd Gurley one year. I forget what year it was, and we were close
Eric
to
Flowers year.
Eric Flowers year.
Tough.
And I was like,
Bust.
damn, I would love Todd Gurley right now. Last thing, NFL. Did you guys see like that they're trying to change the rule of onside kicks?
Again?
Like, you
I saw
have to
some
like
kickoff thing,
you have to
yeah.
like tell the other team when you're gonna do it. It's fucking stupid.
It's already kind of stupid. You can't overload the side. You only have 5 guys against. It's,
But even when you tell them, like, you still get I don't know. It was honestly one of the worst rule changes I've ever seen, where it's like, we obviously need to do something with kickoffs because the kickoffs are just, it's a touchback.
Wasn't there something they suggested about them basically? You could either choose to actually onside kick or run like a 4th and like 20. Was it 4th and 20 or 4th and 25?
Yeah, something.
And if you just get it, you like. I think it was 4th and 25. That if you just get it, you get the ball.
I think
But
that's
if you don't,
so unfair.
but if you don't, they just get the ball.
I
Like
think
where
if you
got
have
it.
Patrick Mahomes, I would do it almost every time.
A 4th and 25, though, is pretty wild.
Lot.
You have
I know,
one play to
but-
get 25 yards. You don't get it. They get the ball, and like you're 20.
I think it should be almost 35. Like, onside kick, only
There's
I
only-
don't know.
but no,
Think
but
how
the
iconic like
penalty-
4th and 26 is.
But there's
Like,
only-
it doesn't
But
happen
the
that
penalty
often.
is so. If you don't get it, they get the ball and literally like I think it's
Yeah.
20 or
But
25.
there was only 2
the onside kick is.
successful
Oh, it's a
onside
35.
kicks.
Yeah.
But so you literally, if you don't get it, do they get the yardage if you're short? Probably. So
I'd say yeah. I'd say.
so if you pick
equal
up
yardage.
15, and you don't convert, like they get the ball at midfield.
Yeah.
But there was only 2 successful onside kicks last year. 2.
Out of how many?
I don't know. I don't know how many.
I don't know. I think it's one of those things.
How many 25-yard conversions are there? Probably more than that, but there's more attempts.
I just think things
Yeah,
change
but
in
it's
the
just
NFL.
like-
Like if kickoffs go by the wayside, it is what it is. You know.
Yeah.
You can
so-
only
It's just
do it
when
when
you're
trailing
trailing.
in the fourth quarter.
But don't you have to like tell them? Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to tell them.
I think it's for safety.
But that's kind of a situation where they know you're going to onside kick already.
I guess. I don't know. I just think it's weird. I think that the kickoff situation's horrible now anyway. Like, I don't know what you can do. I have no answer
Start
for it.
pooching it. Find that zone.
Yeah. 'cause-
I'm surprised that people don't do that more. To be honest
Yeah.
with you. You missed one NFL tidbit.
What?
Antonio Brown coming at Za.
You know what?
We got to defend our guy.
Well, Za was like,
Za doesn't want to defend himself, so somebody.
I don't know if I would either, because Antonio Brown can do whatever he wants and doesn't care. Antonio Brown thinks he can say whatever he wants as long as he says hashtag CTESPN or whatever it is.
Honestly, I think
probably
Zal,
can.
I think Zal was pretty fired up about it.
He was high. I think he was
I think
happy.
he was like shit, like Antonio Brown, like sort of knows
Yeah.
who I am.
Well, real quick too. Jason Kelsey retired.
It got real dressed up for the occasion.
Shut up.
Bosco's unreal, man. This guy.
He's acting like he's still playing. Like you're.
Why does he owe you?
You don't know
Who
me
the fuck
shit.
Are you?
Wait,
He owes
you
it
are
to
actually-
himself.
you're
They're
being
going to be
serious?
running that as his Hall of Fame, the honoree thing. When maybe they'll build a statue for a real guy. They'll make the change now.
Yeah,
Maybe they'll make a movie about him because
just
I don't.
angry.
But he didn't play special teams. I don't
What'd
really
you want him to
know.
wear?
angry.
What'd
You're
you
just an
want him to
angry.
wear?
You're just an
What?
angry man.
What'd you want him to wear?
Anything. An Eagles polo, he would have been fine.
yeah, he just wanted to.
He's
Anything.
never worn a polo in his life.
Anything.
The
Look like a
guy gets drafted.
I like
guy
him.
gets drafted,
He
signs
looks
millions
like
of
a
dollars.
fucking idiot.
Guy gets drafted out of Cincinnati, makes millions and millions of dollars. He says, "I don't know what I'm going to do with this money. I'm going to buy my mom a house and get sweatpants." That was him.
Okay.
This is him.
So, all right.
So
then
shut the fuck up.
Are you on board with people showing up at formal affairs who are like, when they show up and they look like
his
I don't
Yeah.
care.
Like, oh, that's
I
Joe,
don't
yeah, of
care
course
what
he
other
wore-
people
like he
dress
wore
like.
It's
a
his
black
affair.
tie
You are
affair.
wearing
It's
a Mets
black tie affair, and he wore a
windbreaker
fucking-
built for a fucking
checkable-
12-year-old or
He looks
Frank
like
the
a fucking
Tank.
loser.
Look at the back of that windbreaker. Look at the back of that windbreaker. You should be embarrassed. Turn around. Turn around. How can you wear this out in public?
What's the back?
Turn around.
Big Mets logo.
Turn around. Turn around. I want everybody to see it.
Mets logo. It's a massive Mets logo.
Embarrassing. You're embarrassing. You're a child. You're a child coming to work like that.
I'm not doing press conferences.
But it's his event.
They're gonna last forever.
It's your show. It's his event. We're doing the same thing.
It's a little different.
I really think you guys got to dress up for
the
the show more.
Fine. I'm going to wear a shirt and tie the rest of the week.
Yes.
I will.
Yeah.
It's his
Thank you.
Wednesday, Friday, I'll wear a shirt.
I'll say this: you went away. You going about it that way is crazy. Like, there's a way you can go about it.
He thinks
Like, if you want to be angry about it, it was like, all right.
Press conference was an hour long. Even I'm like, okay, that's a lot.
Even that, a long time,
That's a
too.
lot.
He looked like a fucking
going
hour.
after his sleeves.
An hour he's up there. An hour.
He's talking about Nick Foles' legitimate dick.
He's
like,
the
okay,
center.
you can say about
Jeff Saturday do this? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to get mad at it, it's a center. Like, let's relax. Like, you can also.
He does mean a lot. I mean, he's on the Mount Rushmore of Eagles.
Of course, he means a lot for Eagles fans, but it's also like, all right, he's the center. It's whatever. Like, I get that's what if you want to get mad, not his sleeves.
For a 40-minute prep speech, it was just like, okay.
Yeah. Also, big. You got
When you have a podcast that's
the
worth $100
biggest
million.
podcast. That's what I'm saying. You have the biggest podcast in the world. Go do it on there. You have Travis crying out there, which that was a fake cry. Just go fucking do it on the podcast.
I don't know if it was a fake cry.
No, you have to do it on the facility.
No, you don't.
I think you do.
Why?
I think you owe it to the franchise.
No, I think you owe it to the franchise to do the
Shouldn't have
facility.
done it.
But
I would have been mad. If I was an Eagles, I would have been mad that they
It could have been a 10.
it on the
It could have been a 10-minute back and forth, and then he could have saved the 40-minute speech for his podcast.
I for one am shocked that the guy that dressed like this to the Eagles parade didn't.
That's different.
I'm
That's
shocked.
different. That's different. That's different.
Look up any of his pregame
That's
fits.
different. They
All
won.
his pregame fits, he's wearing a tank top.
I said I
He's wearing
bet you
literally
it comes.
sandals.
Tries a little too hard. I know. It's snowing. I'm the sandals guy. That's all the football. All my coaches growing up. It's fucking December. They're wearing shorts. Like, all right, bro. You're definitely fucking cold. Like, put the pants on.
I agree.
Stop with the act of that shit.
Shins don't get cold.
Stop with the act of that
Shins
shit.
don't.
I actually don't
Shins
think
don't.
legs get cold at all.
I guarantee
If you had
he wore
boots on
like,
and fuzzy socks, shorts are you get your money.
he probably wore the cutoff at every single post-game press conference.
I think he actually did. Like his entire career.
I go, it's going to come out in like 2 days. Like, oh, he wore it at every
If
single
he
post-game.
wore a button down or like anything, I'd be like, this is weird.
But Rico, that's just making something. Yeah, you were on one making something out of nothing yesterday. You did it about Jason Kelsey's sleeves. You did it about Will Compton's painting. Like you just making something
yeah.
out.
All right. I mean,
What's your response to Will Compton? Because
I said,
he went.
yeah, I know. It's the equivalent of bumping into someone on the street and then getting shot in the fucking head. He fucking lacks, Will. Holy Christ. But I did official statement, Boys Day happy hour is now just me, Gaz, and Peter Schrager. Will's out. He will be on the show today. Well, maybe we can fix some things, but like
He's on your show today?
Damn.
the equivalent, he is
I mean,
a
he
fucking.
buried-
Also, I mean, I know, but Will, do you have any hobbies? You watching me in my basement, watching Bama? I'm honored. I'm honored.
Hey.
I'm honored he's paying attention to my content.
Dave-
Hey, can you give a
Yeah,
respect?
he said, yikes.
Hey, can you give a respect factor? The buckle in, pretty funny.
He's
It was good.
Very funny.
I actually pictured Rico as a baby.
Yeah, it's
crazy. I've
Very
admitted a bunch of I went to the Kansas State
Like,
game.
what-
Nebraska
what's
beats him.
that
He's got me in a
movie,
mental
the Wayans
pretzel
brothers?
in Survivor. He's dominated me for months. I thought he would have let this one go. His painting also sucked.
What's that moving with the Wayans brothers?
I know what you're talking about, but I forget the name.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't
yeah,
White
yeah.
Chicks. It was when they were like a little baby.
They have like
Awful
Little Man. Little Man.
Bosco, like
Great,
in,
great movie.
just in that chair.
With
Like,
his-
I mean, it was a little excessive. It was very funny. It was a little excessive.
Of course, it was very.
Bumped into him on the street and got
Oh, you wrote
Not
a
very funny.
What?
shotgunned.
Did you
on the
write
thing.
anything in the blog that was a little mean?
I mean, read it. You can pull it up. I don't know. I said the painting was bad.
was it?
I liked
didn't
it
think
a
it was-
lot.
I didn't think it was horrible.
Picasso too. Like it's Will.
I also get where he's coming from. I get it was like a date night painting with
Yeah,
his wife,
and
and you're
you're
just
getting
taking
shit on.
shots at it.
You
Like,
came
he
out of
wasn't like
nowhere.
putting it out
Is that
there.
what we do here? Like I took a harmless shot.
What if someone did that to you?
It's a harmless shot. Also, I wouldn't be doing date nights in March. That's just maybe I'll question him on that. Why are you doing date nights in March? Not a basketball guy.
That sounds like someone I know.
I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. The impression was
eyes.
spot on.
Yeah, I'd
I mean,
Yeah, see.
he's fucking like it's crazy.
Why they talk when they were dead early? Yes, coach.
early.
Talk. Why they talk when they were dead early?
He's actually got the eyes straight on. Too.
The impression was good. Very good.
It was very
Very,
good.
very funny.
Very good.
When you watched it, were you like, "Oh, this is gonna be like a fun"?
I went, not again. I mean, this is a guy who put me on a mental pretzel reviewing fucking security films over a fake toiletry bag, dominated me in that stupid dodgeball thing. Nebraska beats whatever.
Lot of talk. Lot of early. That's
spot on.
I mean,
Quiggs needs to do a double.
Lot of talk.
Yeah.
Down early.
I mean, he's.
That's
Crazy.
I'll give him credit. He's,
Also, I had
he's
forgotten.
quick in the lab. He said wet cat.
Also, very funny that it was a game they ended up losing.
Yes.
Yeah,
We also didn't talk about how
that hurts too.
I mean, I know Bosco wrote the blog, but like Alabama's security like did a whole.
No, Big T did.
Oh, Big T wrote.
That's not. Listen,
they did
Oates
a
said they
whole
weren't.
thing.
Oates said they weren't storming. They were favored.
Oates doesn't know if they're going to storm or not. They have no idea.
He can dictate what goes on in a fan base.
No, he cannot.
Absolutely. The kids, they were favored. They're ranked. They wouldn't have stormed.
I
You
guarantee.
have to do that as there are certain things with compliance. I wouldn't be surprised. It won't get out. I bet you UConn does that. I mean, there's teams who fucking. It would shock you when they do that.
UConn does not do
All
that.
right, well, we'll see.
UConn doesn't. UConn doesn't storm the court.
I was saying UConn's good. They're at a level they
Does
wouldn't storm. They're
Kansas
just like
storm
too
the
good
court?
to storm.
Does Duke
Yeah.
Duke's never stormed the court.
Nah, yeah, for sure.
It's embarrassing.
I think it's a hot topic. I think the SEC is afraid of the fines. I think it's okay to play it safe.
Of course, it is.
For the compliance team.
Also, it's
I don't
okay to
think if
it's
they won the
funny
game,
when
I don't think they were storming.
I think that they were, but I also it's funny to see a bunch of security guards doing the whole thing and they lose. And also Mississippi State did it with Alabama as well. Mississippi State was like, please don't or wait to storm the court, and they ended up losing at the end. That was on the middle.
Yeah, right. So you're fucking proving my point. People are out in front of it with safety. It's a hot button issue. Speaking of which,
I think
Storm
it's
Chasers
fun- I
going to
think it's
UCF.
funny. I'm saying it's funny that they
Tomorrow.
did that. Also, they had no chance against.
SEC also is just by far the strictest.
They
I'm
find-
with you, Rico.
they
I don't think
find more
Alabama
money.
would have.
Played
I
it
think they
safe,
would've.
dude.
I think they would have. It's a hot thing right now, and now they haven't beaten Tennessee.
So
this year.
let me ask you: do you think if Florida wins tonight, would they storm?
No. I think Florida's in the tournament. They're respected.
They're 1.5 point
favorite.
favorites.
Maybe.
They're
They
24th.
might.
They're ranked much lower. It's 24th. Come with what? 12 coming to town.
I also think it matters of like your program. Like, yeah, it's been a while since Florida's been like
Florida.
elite.
They're not that.
Florida's been to Final
07.
Fours. Florida's won championships in this.
But you got to think these college kids that happened when they were fucking like. 7
I
years
know,
old.
but that doesn't.
No, earlier. They might have been. They
Oh
legitimately.
yeah, you're right. Like legit, like 4 or 5
were like-
years old.
yeah.
Yeah, like 5. 4.
No, actually, some of them might have been born.
Dude,
Do the math.
2020
18, 2024.
They legitimately-
Yeah.
like 4 years,
2006?
yeah,
Yeah.
like 2, 3, 4 years old. Some of these
Holy
kids.
shit.
Like that means not like those.
They don't know Matt Walsh's existence.
All right, so
Yeah,
then So then, by that
What's the guy's
rationale,
name?
if UConn
Humphreys
doesn't
or
win a
whatever,
title, if UConn doesn't win a title in 5 years, should they ever storm the court?
Well, you're saying 5. I'm talking about like 20. Or like 17.
Yeah, but those kids in college never got to see a title as well. You know what I mean? I'm moving the goalpost a little bit, but like,
I still think UConn won so much over. I know they had a little gap there, obviously, till last year, but they won so much that I don't think like.
I just think certain programs, like when you think Florida, I say good basketball team. I remember all those, like.
But UConn, I think UConn is more.
Giazza with that team. What?
don't really say
You didn't.
Florida.
Well, when I was 12 or 13, it was crazy. I was actually just watching the kid's highlights, but he's had some issues like legally and shit. Teddy Dupay was a fucking bucket when I was like 12 or 13 years old. Brett Nelson, Haslam, they were fucking good. They were in a championship game in 2000. That was the first time I remember like Florida being really, really good with the black uniforms. Like they were awesome. I think Florida, premier program over the last like they've been better than they have been bad.
That's true, but I think you would call UConn like would UConn a blue blood to you?
Yes.
And that's the gap. I think UConn blue blood, Florida. I'd say no.
Florida,
Very good program, but not a blue blood.
Yeah, they won.
Florida-
Did they win before Billy Donovan won a championship?
No.
No, I don't think so. Or not.
No, they got to one though.
It's like Florida hasn't been good.
Like UConn's won 5 national titles since like what, like 2009.
Oh yeah, no, UConn.
No, Donovan got them to the championship game in 2000, by the way. So.
Like Indiana's like at this point is like playing like I know they're a blue blood. They're like
Yeah, but you
not a blue-
don't. You're Indiana. You don't storm the. See,
They
part
would,
of that
though.
I think.
I think
too,
right
is-
now they would.
Yeah.
Part of that to me though is
Indiana beat Purdue.
Yeah, I was going to say Purdue. If they lost, Purdue lost Indiana tomorrow, Indiana would storm.
part of that. You're like spitting on all the reputation. You're almost admitting you're like, nah, I can't
But-
take you seriously.
but they've
These
won it-
kids
but
weren't
they've
even
won it-
alive. Like
But they've won.
But it's
they've won
40
a
years-
championship in our lifetime.
Doesn't matter.
When they won?
Keeping up, it's keeping up with the
79 or whatever?
Joneses. If they storm, it shows me like I can't take you seriously.
Well,
Didn't
like,
they
You're
storm?
basically admitting you're a fucking clown show.
Didn't they storm against Kentucky when they made that 3?
Yeah, and that started the issue.
Yeah. Now,
But like
now Kentucky
Indiana,
won't go
when's
there.
the last time Indiana's been like really good?
They were a 1 seed with Crean and under-delivered in like 14, I want to say.
Yeah, so we're talking 10
Yeah,
years
so like
ago.
no one like care. Like it's almost
They had a
like,
good little run of like
it's almost
14
like
to
we
16.
talk about
They
Notre
never won a
Dame.
championship, though.
Oh, I agree.
in this,
Yeah.
like,
But isn't it like we talk
century.
about Notre Dame football? Like it's like
See, you're saying that Notre Dame football's been way better in the last 15
that's
years
true.
than you
That's
remember.
100%.
Now, don't get me wrong. A
Yeah,
lot of those years in
you're
the
saying-
90s and 2000s, they were good. They were 10-4, but they were not elite and weren't like in the championship race year in, year out. The last 10 years, that's why I thought Brian Kelly, like, you can't really be. He fucking maximized at Notre Dame. He delivered at Notre Dame. He's maybe their most successful hire without ever winning a championship.
But I think
When
that's
you look at what he did, and
think
he
that's-
ran into some jug saws in fucking
Hate jug sauce.
what do they call that? Juggernauts, buzzsaw, juggernaut. I mixed them up. In Alabama in that championship game, Clemson in the playoff. Like he got some bad breaks.
Shots fired, Ty Wingington.
who. So the big like the Blue Bloods is like Indiana's like only one that's kind of like
Dead.
yeah.
all right. So what about UCLA?
You should just
They've been in the Final Four in the last few
mean,
years.
exactly.
It also went to
4
three.
years ago.
UCLA went to 3 straight Final Fours.
UCLA is
That long ago,
UCLA
15 years?
is a basketball blue. I think
I think
UCLA is forever a basketball blue blood because of John.
They also recently though, like they the Gonzaga.
Yeah. They were in the.
like,
They lost in a 40-foot buzzer beater.
Yeah,
in
like
the championship game.
Indiana again. Like
Granted, that year they were a low seed, but
Last year they were like top 10 the entire year.
Yeah.
Lost in the Sweet 16.
yeah.
But calling UCLA not a basketball blue blood would be like saying the Yankees aren't historically great.
No, I would agree. No, they are. They're.
You're
like I
just
said,
there.
They
They
were in the
earned
Final
it.
Four 3 years.
Doesn't matter if every championship is before like 1970
yeah, but the thing is, like we said, like they got to the Final Four in 2021,
Yeah.
so it's like
or 1980.
when was Indiana's last?
I think their last championship was the Bob Knight one, right?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna guess,
They made
Hold
the
on, hold
championship
on.
against Maryland, right? With Gary Williams.
I think the last time they won it was legit like
2002. No, they lost that championship. game.
Damn, that's been a while.
So their
Holy
last
fuck.
Final Four was that year.
I'm
Was it
saying, bro, I told you.
2002 against Maryland?
Yeah, dude,
They
that's
haven't won since '87 and won since the '80s.
Final Four 2002. That's fucking. They're not a blue blood. I'm taking them out. Fuck them.
20 years, isn't it? You got to make a Final Four in.
I think you have to.
I don't
make
blame
a
you.
Final
I
Four
don't.
in
I
a
don't.
20 years.
I don't totally disagree with you.
Dude, they are actually
That's
like
a long time.
Their ass.
They are Notre.
They've been to an Elite Eight since 2002.
That is Notre. Like I know it's not Notre Dame because
That's
I think Notre
crazy.
Dame's like better, but holy, like '87 was the last Notre Dame football championship.
Are we? Yeah. Did Indiana get glorified just because of like Hoosiers and the state? Like,
Well, it's basketball.
Well, it's a basketball
agreed.
state.
It's 100.
I mean, look at
Hoosiers
the,
in general. I'm
the
saying
70s and
without a
80s
doubt.
are fucking insane.
I think Bob
the
Knight put him over the top.
Look at
No,
this.
I actually
Look
think
from 73 to 1994. It's fucking pretty elite.
3 championships in 11 years is obviously a hell of a run. Obviously,
Even
I mean, but that's all Bobby
but-
Knight.
that's what I'm saying.
But Marty, you're saying like crazy. Yeah, they went to a bunch of Elite Eights. It's all 2 Final Fours in the entire decade of the 70s, 2 Final Fours in the entire decade of the 80s, 1 Final Four in the 90s, and 1 in the 2000s. None since. Like, I actually look at that resume. It's not as
That's a pretty impressive.
since
resume.
1980 they've made 4 Final Fours. That's now granted the undefeated season.
I mean, but you're
and then you're looking at
since '88 they've made 0, or they made 2 Final Fours since in the last 20.
It's from that
40
stretch.
years
I don't think we
almost.
should shit on that stretch. I'm saying think about it right now. NCAA tournament runner-up 2002, and they haven't done shit since then. How can we start? It's 2024. We're still saying they're blue blood. I think every 20 years you should have to do something.
I think I tend to agree.
I think as a show we should take Indiana as blue blood.
Maybe demote him. Teal blood.
I don't
Yeah.
know. There's still something to be said about like the historical significance of going to Assembly Hall
Yes.
like that.
Yeah, Assembly Hall is
like,
special.
Just,
for sure.
just,
100%.
just
That was
that-
cool when we did.
Just that
I think
alone.
they're historic.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
they're a
They played
historic
St.
blue
John's
blood.
in a fucking.
The
like,
fact that you could go though and be like, yo, that was like that's a place I want to go watch a basketball game because that has a historical significance. Like that still makes them a blue blood. Like as good as UConn is and they're a blue blood without a doubt. I'm not like I need to go to Gamble. Like that's a historical.
Would you
arena.
like who is so UConn's in? Who if you had to switch somebody out for Indiana with that? It's not UConn. Would it be like Villanova?
That's a new blood.
I know it's a new.
No, I don't know. If,
but,
obviously,
like,
obviously with Jay Wright, they had a phenomenal run. But I don't
that's
know
what
if
people are talking about now. You know, like
a little too
recent.
I don't know.
If it's nobody, it's just UConn then, because UConn's been.
UConn. I mean, they've just done it with multiple coaches, and they've literally won national titles with 3 different coaches in the last 20.
Probably the most.
years.
If you're a casual basketball fan, UConn, you know everything about them.
I mean, just especially our age, like our lifetime, they've just dominated college
100%.
basketball. I don't think who even. Those are blue bloods. I would agree with all of those. For
Indiana's not on it.
Oh yeah, see, all right.
Rightfully so.
We took them off. Rightfully so is right.
So
100%. They're also dog shit.
tier
This year.
2.
Ooh, yeah, this is good. This is a good tier.
Louisville, interesting. Yeah, I mean, obviously they've had some.
Louisville, Michigan State.
Zone, I agree with. Like Zona should be in that like tier 2 because they have.
Arizona's won way less championships than
But they've
feels
been.
like
they
should have.
they've been good for. It feels like they've been
100%.
just good for like 20 years.
You know who I would put on tier?
Michigan
All those
State, I
teams
would
that won a
agree.
championship. What tier is Gonzaga? Because Gonzaga's had a 25-year run of really like as successful as you can get.
I think if they had won one championship, they'd like easily be in the
Yes.
second tier. Them just not getting that. They've been to what 2 championship, games, and the one they got. The one was like the worst game ever.
Louisville
Oh.
was
The-
consistent.
second-
Which sucked because it was the
Wow.
most anticipated final of all.
No. I'm saying the one before that, like the one they lost to UNC was just like a rock fight.
They should have
They
won.
didn't get blown out. They were close.
Am I thinking of the right game, or was that?
Oh, they were close in that game.
They should have
No,
won.
no, the game was close, but I'm saying
It was gross.
I think
it
of the
wasn't
game
good.
like it was just a gross,
Wasn't
like
a good
low
game.
scoring, like bad game
What tier is
to
Gonzaga?
watch
There you go.
by
2B.
themselves. Yeah,
There you go. Like,
if they just won a championship, they'd be in that group.
see, I don't remember Arkansas being like great growing up.
The 90s, they were
94,
good.
I know. Yeah, they obviously had that.
Cincy's a pretty
Since
good
he was
call.
like good. Yeah, this is the
think
list.
Cincy's
We're like in
definitely-
the weeds now in the list, but
Yeah, we're deep in for sure. Like even Memphis is. like
Memphis a little
weird,
crazy. Oregon's been good. They haven't been like great. I actually think Syracuse has been lucked out on a ton of tournaments.
I think
Tennessee is one of those teams who's better than you remember. Tennessee's like feels
They-
like
they
every
just
4 or 5
always-
years. Tennessee's around.
They
They're
always
just
come,
around.
They just always come up short.
Yeah.
but they're always like in the mix. And this
Purdue was
another,
like on the verge.
another year this year, like Tennessee's got a shot to go
Yeah.
deep.
Just the one thing I wanted to tell you, Dukes, that I wanted you to name the top 3 teams in the past 2 months of college basketball.
I know Duke's number 3 on Bartovic.
Top 3 teams in terms of what?
But I'll say this, Marty. I think they.
Efficiency, top 10, top defense, offense percent.
I'll say this
For the
about.
last what month?
months.
2 months?
I think their best game. I think that from what I've seen, I think that Shire has done a great job of making this team so much better throughout the year. But at the same time, it's like they have guards that can get them, I think, on a run in the tournament. But I'm not impressed with who they've played since UNC. Like I think their best game of the year came against Virginia, fucking smacked them. That was without a doubt the most impressive showing. But then they split against the best team that they played, Wake Forest, home and away.
But
So it's like
you're
I
doing that
agree.
against,
They've blown out.
other
They've blown out
teams,
bottom
you
tier.
know?
They have blown out bottom tier of the ACC,
The
which
bottom's bad.
and
Like,
I think it's
Louisville,
bad.
bad.
So
Florida
what do we
State,
say
bad.
about like Gonzaga doing this?
Syracuse,
you know, like
mid.
they beat Baylor too.
They're
like,
doing
like,
they're doing exactly what they should do.
Yeah.
I'm just holding out from like being like, all right, like I think they're Sweet 16 good. I think their guards are fucking legit. They have a 3-headed monster. Was totally wrong about that. Front court, I still think there's issues. Like Filipowski's good. There's also like,
Stewart's gonna help.
yeah, it's just
All right.
When I
that's-
close-
I'm
it comes down to this.
I'm glad that you're coming around a little bit.
no,
more,
the
though.
backcourt. It's just also like.
But guards win.
I got it.
championships.
I'm holding out on. I'm sticking to what I'm saying until I see them play UNC at home and then the ACC tournament.
All right. Guards win championships in March.
I know. I think Duke's really. I think this is where I see. I think they're kind of similar to last year in that. I think they're the kind of. And I think this is what Duke's is kind of alluding to, where they will bully like not even bad, even like solid teams. But I'm worried like once they play some of the like really good teams that they might all of a sudden go from like the bully to like getting bullied a little bit, which is kind of what happened to them last year. A
I
little bit in the
called that with
tournament.
Tennessee, and I hated Tennessee.
Like that's the
I
matchup.
spotted that a
where
mile away.
I'm afraid, which you can say this about a lot of teams, but I'm worried like they get to some of those matchups, and all of a sudden they can't impose their will the same way they do on some of these like the bottom to even like middle of the like ACC. Like NC State's not bad, but they're not like a tournament team, but they're not horrible.
I always loved Ken Pom.
They're probably gonna fire that guy. Scroll up.
No, but I'm saying like, look, like
How many top 100 wins they have?
since the UNC game, like Notre Dame, BC, Wake Forest, Florida State, Miami, those are all games that I like. Like, what's the tough test there?
Like they've blown them all out, and
Yeah, but
they've done what they should do. They've blown them all
Exactly.
Oh,
out.
I forgot about BC.
But I agree. Like when they played, all of a sudden they played some decent teams and they take some losses.
It's just tough when it's like you say it's just because you could say against like Gonzaga, like they play nobody too. Like there's teams all around. ACC's just down this year.
I mean, I believe in Duke more than I believe
ACC's
in
been down
Gonzaga.
a few
I mean,
years more than people
It's
want
hard
to
to
give it
say
credit
down though when they're like you have UNC and Duke, who's usually like
for. And that's it.
They're top heavy.
yeah, but that's it. And like many like the Big Ten doesn't have a great. They're top heavy this year.
I think they have a little bit more of a middle than.
They're still
than
pretty
the
down
ACC
this year
does.
though.
They're down. I mean, they're not going to get like 9 teams like they have in the past, like 8, 7, 8, 9 teams. But I think they still get like 6, 5 or 6. I'll say 5 like comfortably. I think maybe 6.
Like, even Virginia. Like,
Scroll up.
69th in Ken Palm. Holy fuck.
Give me the beginning of.
I don't really care about the beginning, to be honest. Like, I'm not gonna like. Would you judge them based off the beginning still?
No, I'm just looking at like wins. I mean, Arkansas is a horrific loss.
I mean, it's the 7th game.
Like, they are way better from when they were.
Yeah,
playing
they're
in
way better than when they first started.
The Baylor win was impressive.
Caught Baylor
Yeah.
the right time.
Before we go to picks, we gotta talk about what do you guys think about Arch Manning? You think does he think that when you opt into a video game, you have to play in the video game the entire time?
There was one tweet I saw where he saw he was gonna be a 71 overall and said no way.
I had this.
I kind of
I had
respect
the same
that a little
thought.
I don't hate that.
I had the
respect
same
that
thought
more.
because he's going to be backup quarterback.
I respect that
He's
more.
like, fuck that. I'm not going to be like a superstar.
But you can't say what he said.
Yeah, but how does this work? Because they used to fuck around and just put Jordan in games anyway. So aren't they just gonna have?
They didn't though.
What do you? Well, all right. They had the code of player 98.
Exactly.
Yeah. So are they gonna do the same thing with Arch Manning?
You can, if you choose to not be in it, like there's a setting where like you can't make like Arch Manning number 18 for Texas. Like I think
Right, but on
like, if you
Texas's
type it in,
depth
they literally
chart,
just like won't like
on Texas's depth chart in the game, are they
QB
going?
16.
They're gonna have QB 16 at a 71 overall, and everyone knows it's Arch Manning.
Yes.
They are, right?
guess.
So like, just fucking opt in, dude. Like, what the fuck?
guess. Yeah.
Also the random players they
You
had.
know
from,
what I'm
like, with
talking
the
about.
Warriors
When,
go to
when
yeah,
Barry
yeah.
Bonds held out of games,
yeah.
it was fucking Joe Schmo that they would put, and he was a 97 overall. You'd be like, who's this guy? They put him in a different number or the same number, and there was a loophole around it. Everyone knew what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
They did the same thing
Yeah,
with
look
Jordan.
at Belichick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Belichick opted out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like him at least.
Bill Belichick has never been a Madden, which is just so funny to
I
think
like
about.
that too. I respect that. Two things actually.
Yeah, but in order for the game to be fair, they give their coach a 97 overall. You know what I mean? Like, they know what
Also, Greg, you're playing Madden, so I don't know how much. Like,
Yeah, no
the-
one cares about Coach
Whatever.
Like
It's
coaching up
insane.
the defense.
On the
It's
pregame,
kind of a dick move, Dukes. He just he's a coach. Like you just don't want to be in.
on the pregame menu, though, Ev, it'll say, like,
I
offense
thought it was-
A,
Well, yeah,
defense
yeah.
B.
Well, I bet they still use like his defense.
Yeah, I get why
Coach
Jordan didn't do
A.
it because Jordan wasn't getting like the finances from his image. But Belichick, I mean, you're a coach, man. It's Madden.
That was the sickest thing ever. I love that. Playing as like Griffin Nelson, the head coach of the Patriots, was
Griffin
awesome.
Nelson.
Before we get to picks, we have
Also, like 5-year-old Kevin McDougal could not comprehend that. He was like, "Why isn't Bill Belichick in the game?" Like, do you remember the game NFL head coach?
yeah.
Oh,
He just played head coach.
Yeah,
So stupid, but it was
That's a
great.
climber game.
I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is.
it was on the cover. Bill Cowher.
I still think Bill Cowher could get a job. I don't care how long
Me
he's
too.
been
I
You gotta
actually
make him say
agree.
no.
Him and
Kids
Brian
did.
Billick.
Yeah.
Him and Brian Billick.
I agree, Rico. That is Rico's philosophy. Just call everybody, and make them say no.
No, only two guys I would call.
Jay Wright and
Oh, I
Is
wouldn't
that- is
call
that-
Jay Wright. I think Jay Wright's a
Wait
quitter.
a second. Is that a bit?
Jared a quitter.
Brian Billick's passed, right?
Brian Billick died?
I don't think so.
No, he didn't. The guy on fucking CBS?
I don't know.
He was like NFL Network or some shit.
Is he?
yeah.
Brian Billick's not dead.
No, Tony Saragusa died.
Brian
From
Billick's
that
alive.
team.
Yeah.
I thought.
shout out Billups
I'm-
being alive.
Okay.
R.I.P.
All right,
Saragusa.
all right.
Are we thinking of the same? Can you
Legend.
pull up a Google image of Brian Billick, please, for Smitty?
Billick's alive.
He's alive.
Just in case. I don't think he knows who
Shout out
he
him
is.
being
No, the head coach of the Ravens.
Yeah.
I honestly thought he passed.
No.
Well, shout him out. He's alive.
All right, shout out Brian Billick.
Yeah, Saragusa died.
For some reason, I feel like you're equating Saragusa's death with him for some reason.
I'm having a legitimate Mandela moment. Seriously.
Tony Saragusa
Yeah.
unfortunately passed.
And I know Goose passed.
Sad, really
Yeah.
sad.
It's bad. Nobody bet FCS games that weekend.
Brian Billick's alive.
He typed in Brian.
Oh no. I know who I'm thinking. Jim Fossil.
Rest in peace, Chris Mortensen.
Jim Fossil
Up
passed.
Billick with Fossil.
Well, they played each other in that Super Bowl.
Fair enough.
Jim Fossil passed, correct?
Jim Fassel?
And
I
Chris
don't think Jim Fossil died.
Your
either.
sake, I
Yes, you
really-
know what? I do think Jim Fossil died.
Yeah,
I told you,
Yeah,
this
he
should
died
be-
in 2021.
The dozen should just have a category: dead or alive.
Yeah,
No
it's-
Yo, do you know Pam Anderson's still alive?
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
I've never heard of her dying, so yeah.
I thought she just died like years ago.
Shout out being alive. All right. Before we go down to a rabbit hole of telling people that they're dead,
My apologies to the Billick family.
we have two people doing live streams. One is 100 hours. Clemmer is doing this right now. He freaked out last night because his punishment was Frank the Tank singing a Akon song.
yeah, it's locked up.
Locked up. Very funny by Vibs to get that done. I thought that was great. Clemmer ended up unplugging it and freaked out and said, "This is not solitary confinement. This is torture."
Which he has a point.
But it's also content. You know,
Which is also a point.
that was millions of views. You want it, your stream. You don't want to do 100 hours and no one care. That's
I
a
mean,
fair
I just want to say, in terms of your in doing extra solitary confinement, if they chose to violate the Geneva Convention, you don't get to just unplug it. I'm just saying.
That's true. That is very true.
You're just in solitary, brother. If they're torturing you, you got to just
This
deal
is
with it.
25 to 26 hours in. He looks miserable.
Didn't Andy Dufresne do a month in the hole?
Yeah.
And they got pissed at him that time.
So this is where I don't think he's gonna make it. Honestly, I don't think he
Look at him. He's
actually
eating
is.
off a prison cafeteria tray. Though,
Why is he gagging? What the fuck's his problem now?
and he's not helping himself either. I mean, I know
What the fuck? Is he eating something bad?
Man, I know Clemmer's like kind of
Wacko?
body. You know, the body's not exactly traditional, but when he was doing the rice challenge, he was just squatting
Yeah.
like Buster Posey. Like, what are you doing? Just sit down, man. Why are you squatting? Or you're just messing up your fucking MCLs, picking apart rice.
He's also not young. I know we
No!
we allude to that a lot on this show. He's not young.
No.
What did you say his body is? His body's untraditional.
Just non-traditional.
Dude, when he lays on
That was a very polite, respectful way to say
when
that.
he lays on the bed, it's just like
Oh God, my wife called somebody in the nicest.
I'm gonna start saying that about when people call me fat. I'm just like, no, I've got an untraditional body.
My wife called somebody a couple weeks ago. She's the nicest person in the world. Did me anything by it. She called them very unfortunate looking. I'm like, that is the worst possible thing you could say about somebody.
What a polite way to say they're an uggo.
Oh man,
I think the worst.
that's the
thing
worst thing you could
lightly,
say.
but the worst you could say is like,
Unfortunate looking.
I've heard someone just look at someone like, he got dealt a bad cards. Like that's just so mean.
Bad deck of cards.
Bad. He got his cards, but got a bad deal.
Face for radio.
I've heard
I felt sad. A little too
There
much
was-
chlorine in that gene pool.
Just going off Clemmer being a weirdo, there was just something that I saw yesterday because it's going on in the office all day, and half the time you just don't listen to volume. You're just like watching Clemmer, like it's the Truman Show.
True.
And he's sitting on the bed, but his legs are up on a chair.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why don't you just sit back on that goddamn bed?
Yeah, he took a nap with his feet on the ground yesterday.
He threw
does
himself
every-
into a suitcase.
He does everything so untraditional and weird. Yeah. He's just a non-traditional
Also, like,
human.
sometimes like it's kind. I turned it off the other day, yesterday, because he started getting to like things in his childhood and like when he was lonely, and I was like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn this off because now he's going insane and I feel
dark.
bad. Second thing, Kirk Minahan's show is almost going 24 hours now because Jack Coleman, who's the biggest liar Yankee fan I've ever met, because he didn't know Aaron Judge's number was 99 or who number 42 was on the Yankees.
No Babe Ruth's number.
He also didn't know.
Joe Torre.
He also couldn't name everybody in the AL East.
I mean, that's a brain fart situation. But
No, it's not.
No.
No, it's not.
There's only 4 other teams.
not knowing Babe Ruth's number and not knowing Joe Torre,
Aaron
that's
Judge?
and Aaron Judge, that's a fraud.
Aaron Judge is on the team now.
Yeah, that's just a
It's
fraud.
99.
I said it's one of the biggest rackets ever run in Barstool history.
He was a short porch.
He had this,
Producer.
I was convinced he's like a diehard sports fan. I guess I just never made him like mansplain to me. Like
Yeah,
You don't think that if you're a Yankee fan, you know who's
when,
in
he,
the
when
division.
he's a guy that produces a Yankees podcast. He's interested. He's a Knicks fan. He's talking to me about Knicks, and I'm like, oh, he's like a New York sports fan.
Tough.
And then all of a sudden he comes to Kirk just exposes him.
So he
How do you
had
not know
to-
Joe Torre was a manager?
That's
It's
insane.
it's unfathomable.
I just miss when we had diehard fans. There was a time when we had people who would rather go to sleep happily knowing that their team didn't win than be a fucking fan of the other team. You know what I mean? I'm just sad we went away from diehard.
So his 24-hour his stream is not ending until he gets the top 10 MLB home run leaders, and he needs number 8, which is Jim Tomei. And
I don't know if I would have got Tomei.
He said, I think 10 is actually kind of hard.
I don't know if I would have got.
He lucked into number 10 at Frank Robinson of just saying like generic.
Yeah,
names.
but
And
he
at some
also
point just lucked
said
himself into Frank
he
Robinson.
I don't know. I really don't know if I would have got Jim Tomei.
he said Jim
I think Tomei was
Thome.
kind of easy.
He said Jim
watched
Tome.
play.
And then also this morning, Kirk said, "Oh, I watched this Marissa Tomei," and he did not. Nothing.
Didn't ring
happened.
a bell. Didn't
So-
even-
yeah, not that.
No, then
So funny.
Marty, he said like an hour, like 45 minutes, whatever after, that he literally said to him, Jim Tomei is trending on Twitter.
He said Jim Tomei is
Yeah.
trying
Yes.
to.
And then Jim Tomei's wife called into the show.
Oh my God.
No,
Well,
she didn't.
Yeah.
No, she didn't.
Wait, she called in.
She called into the show.
And so, well, you mean somebody? I think he does bits, like somebody.
Yeah, was it
Sa-
Rico that did you?
Oh,
I-
okay, yeah, maybe it was a.
I would have to imagine.
Sean,
it was
Sean
someone-
Sterling has also called that program
That's
quite
also
a few
true. Okay.
times.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Let's
There's
do
a recurring
He's-
caller named GB. You could read between the lines on that.
Are you reading this list really quick? He is so like, if Harmon Killebrew was on that list, the only person that's
Oh,
getting
no.
that is
Yeah.
Chris Clemmer
Yeah.
or Rafael Palmeiro.
Like
Palmeiro.
everyone.
Palmeiro, if you're a baseball fan,
Yeah.
Killebrew is tough.
I really don't know.
Frank
if I-
Robinson's tough.
Frank Robinson
Frank
is tough
Robinson's
as well.
tough. I
only
think,
think, I think I only would have got Tomei if I was 8. If there was
You would've
someone
got
else,
Tomei.
If there was somebody else in the room and they can say yes or no.
No, but you would have got Tomei.
'Cause then you know what I mean. Like you need
Actually, I
that.
will say I had to give Bosco like 6 hints to get Albert Pujols.
I did. I blanked on Pujols.
You would have got Tomei.
That was also
Would've
after
gotten
30
you
seconds.
would have went
Yeah,
through the
no, it was
Rolodex
quick,
who
it
has
was
600 home runs or
I
500
wouldn't have
home
gotten
runs.
Frank Robinson. I'll
Yeah.
be honest.
You would have said
wouldn't got
McGuire before like Frank
that. Yeah,
Robinson.
yeah, yeah. Let's do our picks. I got to do the dozen. Rico.
The Broncos are going to cut Russell Wilson, take an $85 million dead money hit, which I fully don't understand.
Second, that's double the all-time dead money hit.
Yeah,
It's
it's crazy.
Next year they'll have a $49.6 million. That's
How much? How much?
1 year.
Like
1 year.
was he that bad for them last year?
I don't even think it's that. It's just that you paid him all this money. You had 2 losing seasons, and you're just a team that clearly isn't ready to like win a Super Bowl. You need to like move on, get the next guy, figure it out.
Yeah,
You're literally better. He's had the number 1 and number like 6 worst cap hits of all time. He's both.
It's crazy.
2 of the top like 6 or something like that.
I am going to take a team who needs this game outright, massively. But I do think they'll give a big effort. I'm going to take K-State plus the 11. Going to Fog. Difficult spot. They lost to Cincinnati, but I think they fight right to this. This is close enough where they could lose by. They're down by 4. They missed that shot that cuts it to 2, 6, 8, whatever with the free throws. I think they will be inside this number of 11. I went 0-2 last night on bad spots. Oklahoma, I think, needs a win against a pesky Cincinnati team at home, minus the 5.5. This is the team who was ranked. Now they're like 19-10. They got to get in there. And this is Georgetown's Super Bowl. At home, keep Providence out, plus the 7.5. I think that's going to be kind of, closer than we think. Two tournaments that start. I'll take Milwaukee plus 2,200 to win the Horizon, and I'll take Ark State plus 800 and back the Wolves up.
I've been the worst college basketball gambler on the planet this season. So fade what you will. We're going with one player. We're going with the Gators. Chomp. I said I'd take them at plus money yesterday. They're not. They're favorites. I like it even more.
Worried about that spot.
Gators minus 1.5. That's the only play. Fade if you wish. I wouldn't blame you.
I love that. I'm also on Florida minus 1.5. I also didn't tweet out my Baylor win last night because of Big Ev. Because I was
Oh,
like,
dude, I can't. This season has been just so pain. I can't buy one. It's just been like 0-4. Just feel like just routine. It's so bad.
I'm going Illinois minus 2.5 against Purdue. I'm going UNC minus 14.5 against Notre Dame. I'm going Syracuse plus 9.5. It's a really big game for Syracuse and Clemson. But I'm going plus 9.5. I'm going Ole Miss plus 2.5. Auburn minus 11.5. Kansas minus 11.5. Kansas needs to blow them out.
Yeah.
Needs to. I'm going with Dukes' Dayton minus 9.5 as well.
Taking Kansas minus the 11.5. It's Kansas State's Super Bowl.
It's Kansas needs to win this game more than anything right now. They have been on a bad slide.
Is McCullough back?
Yeah.
Like
big.
500 in the Big
That's
12.
big for them. McCullough back is big.
They're like close to 500 in the
Did
Big
McCullough play last game or no?
Yeah.
He did play last game.
But they also that was at Baylor.
That's right. That's
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, they're still like close to 500 in the Big 12.
no, they've been. I'm super
That's what I'm
underwhelming. this
saying.
year.
I also
Super
think I don't
underwhelming.
think you take that much away from Kansas. Like I'm not putting Kansas in the elite conversation, but the Big 12 is a fucking buzzsaw.
Oh, Kansas
Brutal.
is
Brutal.
you still don't want to play Kansas in the tournament.
They no, for sure not. For sure,
Especially
not.
with the location.
They've just lost some games that it's felt crazy. They've lost on the road a few, like West Virginia. What was the one a few weeks ago? They just blew it. They were up big and
Is it
they blew out.
BYU.
They blew out Texas. That was who BYU. They were winning like the whole game.
Yeah.
And blew it at the end of the road. That was a bad performance.
Also, I got a Nicky Mush play, and it's the Devils. New coach tonight. Florida Panthers on a back-to-back. Take the Devils.
Don't hate that.
I like it. I actually might
Pity.
play that.
Flyers let us down last night. Outshot the Blues at home on a dollar dog night, 41-25. Kevin Hayes game-winning goal, 2-1 Blues. Thank you very much, Flyers. We're
Love
going,
Hayes.
we're going Kraken tonight. Money line against Winnipeg plus 145, as well as Syracuse Clemson over 153.
I got just two futures: Oakland plus 240 to win the Horizon, and I like Gonzaga minus 115 to win.
Yeah,
the
everybody
WCC.
picked. I looked at ESPN today. Everybody picked across the board Gonzaga to win the WCC tournament.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I was surprised not
One more
one
person,
person
yeah.
thinks St. Mary's could beat them. St. Mary's has played lights out except for that one game
Beat
against
the
them.
shit out of them at St. Mary's.
I think
They just
Gonzaga's
picked
on a
up- They just
mission.
picked up what did they beat? Just the two other best teams on the road in the last week. I can see.
There's
why.
really nobody else I'm taking besides them or St. Mary's. I get what you mean. Like
Yeah, I just was not one guy on St. Mary's.
I got a flyer.
Monday
Anybody-
are we doing the draft?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Monday draft of tournament winners, conference tournament winners. All right, that is the show. We'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, that's the show. Shout out DraftKings. Shout out all of you for watching. Go watch these live streams happening. That's Big Central.